We shall start at the beginning. Where is Syria exactly? Got my trusty globe. Production value. Production value! So it is right there. Right there, Syria. There's Iran. Syria's in the Middle East, essentially. You go halfway through Turkey, turn right. If you get to Iran, you've gone too far. What is going on there? Everyone is pretty certain that chemical weapons have been used in Syria by either President Assad and his regime or a rebel group. At this stage it does seem like it's Assad, but he keeps blaming the rebels, and basically it keeps going back and forth between the two. Syria keeps saying that it was rebel groups, and the rebel groups keep saying it was Assad. It's a bit childish, really. But all is fair in love and war, you say? Well, it's a bit more complicated than that. The Geneva and Hague Conventions are basically a set of rules put down to govern warfare. They aren't conventions like Comic-Con, although that would be pretty good, I thought. Or dressed up like Bane debating about world politics.
Hostages should not be deprived of their human rights. It should be made illegal.
Warfare has changed drastically ever since about World War I. Before that, to have a battle, basically what you do is you take your troops, they take theirs, and you just have it off in a field. And whoever won. Civilians rarely died unintentionally. They'd have to be pretty stupid to wander into a battlefield. But now things are different. The weapons used nowadays no longer discriminate between people holding rifles and innocent bystanders. So the world came together to decide which of these weapons were okay and which weren't, one of which was chemical weapons. That is completely justified. No matter where you stand on war, whether you're completely opposed to it or you're always up for a good fight, no one really disagrees that they should be made illegal. You just have to look at the footage from Syria to understand why they've been made illegal. I'm going to show some of that footage now, but warning, it is a bit graphic, so close your eyes if you're a bit... Who is like that? Well, close your eyes if you're a bit... whatever the fuck that is. So now that Syria has used these weapons, the rest of the world is almost obligated to do something about it. But what we should do about it, well, that's where it gets a bit complicated. It mainly comes down to, should we take military action or not? And it's very hard to make that decision. Now, I had a small discussion with this with Rao Reynolds over Twitter, and we both basically have the same problem, in that we have very strong systems of belief, but right now those systems of belief are contradicting each other. We are opposed to war, yet we're also opposed to crimes against humanity, and that is where a lot of the rest of the world stands as well. I personally believe that if there is a crime against humanity, then the rest of humanity has an obligation to do something about it. I feel these people should be brought to justice, but at the same time I'm very much a pacifist and think we should do everything we can to avoid military action, but we don't really have many other options. Now we have the problem that our government voted against military action. Now, I don't believe that the reason we voted against it are because of the same reasons that I hold my system of beliefs. The vote was very close. It was 14 votes, I believe, and the reason that it didn't go through was because Labour largely opposed it, which, when you think about it, it's a bit weird. 10 years ago, didn't they send us charging to war?
Is not the time to falter. This is the time for this House, not just this government or indeed this Prime Minister, but for this House to give a lead. To show that we will stand up for what we know to be right. To show that we will confront the tyrannies and dictatorships and terrorists who put our way of life at risk. To show at the moment of decision that we have the courage to do the right thing. I beg to move the motion.
So I think it's on good authority that actually what happened was Labour wanted to make Cameron look like a twat 12 months before our election. They wanted to make him look weak. I think if there wasn't an election in 12 months' time, we'd already be engaged in military action. But then if we do take military action, there's a lot of problems that go with that. And basically in Syria, you have sort of two bad opposing forces, really. You've got the rebels and you've got Assad. Now basically they're keeping each other busy all the time. So if we remove Assad from the equation, the rebels can do whatever they want. So very much like Iraq, we would then have to stay in Syria to establish peace and to establish a new government. which 10 years later from Iraq, we've still got troops there. And nobody wants that. Now, is there a solution without conflict? I don't think there is. I don't think Assad would just jump on a plane and then be trialed for war crime. Russia is currently discussing a plan to basically, Syria has to hand over all of its chemical weapons and they get a slap on the wrist and they go, don't do that again. They might be a bit more complex than that, but yeah, you get the gist. But this plan seems like a little too late for me. Hundreds and hundreds of people have already lost their lives and someone needs to be brought to justice for that. So ultimately we face a decision of justice, war. I'd like to know where you guys stand on this, because I have no idea where I stand. It's so complex and confusing. As I said, I got two different systems of belief. I don't want war yet. War criminals should be brought to justice. So it's so difficult. And I want to know what you think. I leave you with the thoughts of George Carlin. Fighting for peace is like screwing for virginity. I've been Dabby Peace and you've been you. Thank you for watching.
Absolutely blue-haired arsehole.
This is a plug, and so is this. I've recently started my own clothing line called 1,000 Voices, and we're all about taking a stand for your belief and the things that are shitty in the world. We're on Twitter. We don't exactly have anything on sale just yet. Well, I think we've got one thing on sale. I'll go get it. We're doing a special pre-launch poster, which looks like this. Try and get it to the glass now. It looks awesome. They're available on the site, and yeah, go check them out. Fuck you! I did that last time. Don't know why it keeps being horrible. Yeah, bye.